Okay, this is a separate video to the first what I actually did video. This is the additional things that I did because of working with the film company. Part of the project that I took with them was, and I knew it was, involving filming the actual work itself. The videoing of the project was done in such a way that some of the video that they took, the original time lapse, was actually taken on one of their cameras that they use for video recording their work, so that they can show this is what a large scale set build looks like. Although it's not a good example, but that comes down to pricing and how it was costed out, which I'll comment at the end, because there is a lot of things along the cost line that were important. What this one is more of the additional things. So as well as building the set and as well as working with professionals, it was also a case of learning stuff like camera operating, how sound works, how camera operating vans work, and how cutting desks, sound desks and the like also work. Through the project I didn't particularly work on cutting or the digital engineering side, but I have sat there before and helped with that. Through most of this one, which is this time with a company, I was operating a camera, a tripod mounted camera with focus and zoom, meaning I was on a stationary point and filming around from that. The way that we communicated between where the van was and where the video was being organised from and where the cameras were being operated from at the front were by walkie-talkies that we wore on our side, and then had headsets to talk into to communicate. There is not much which is easily broken apart from the project because it was a complete thing. So I did the set build and helped with the set, and then I also helped with recording of it. The best way to say that it was useful is I actually now know about the cameras. I have more of an understanding about the lighting, and unlike a lot of the students at UCA on our course, I actually know between courses that for a lot of the film cameras you run or you have a wireless system that will transmit particular cables. I know the names of the cables and how those are set up, and I have an understanding more of that side of it. So when it comes to doing a more complex project, if there was such a thing, I know that a lot of the cameras nowadays are so big, they operate in so way, and how it is working one, so I know how it is to implement one into a set, which makes it a lot easier to work out how to find information. So although it isn't something that is necessarily guided in the project, it's something that's good because it's other understandings of the working environment, such as what the camera operating is, what the lighting is, and everything generally. It's one thing that you and Gary said on the next project where we were working with another TV company. Although student based, it was still using similar cameras, although slightly older. It was still using wires to run the signals back, and it had virtually all the same components on the camera and sound and all that side as it had on mine. So I could go in and know that roughly this area of this desk would work on this, that section of the room will be working there, and I could go through and know, okay, these are where areas are. Which, coming to a professional environment, means that I know that if I want to go to the lighting group, I don't go into particular rooms because there won't be lighting or sound in there. They'll have their own spaces, or there'll be different equipment, and I can actually understand the other side of filming it and what will be happening around that side. At the same time, I know hopefully what's happening with the set, so it's easier to liaise between the two when you know what's going on. And hopefully this has made sense of, I now know more about this section, but it's not necessarily everything that has been happening. As well as that, a lot of the videos over these couple of days have been compressed because it isn't really that much of a difference. What is different is either are we painting something or are we doing something, but it doesn't really make much difference, especially when I'm filming. I filmed the same thing pretty much 3 days running. The same companies would display each day, and each day you just record what they did. It would go off to a storage system in the van and then would be collected up there, and at the end of the project or at the end of the event they came along and asked, could we have this video, and then it was sold to them if they wanted it. But it's not that different to any other way, and as such it just doesn't quite work that well to end up with something that I only stay there for the sound. I mean, if I had left and gone away, I wouldn't have done the actual set stuff itself, and I wouldn't have actually had any projects away from the university, which I don't particularly like. If anything, I'd like to have more projects away from the university so that I'm in more different professional environments. But it's okay to work at the university, and it's sort of, the good stuff is also taken with the bad stuff, because not every company does everything that you want to do, but there are companies that do, but it's whether they want to take you. But I think that's it for now, because it's really hard to say much more about what I've actually done over those days, because it's camera operating and focusing on how I zoom in and out and working on my ability to operate cameras, which hopefully won't be necessary in my future jobs if I go for the ones that I want. But yeah, it was interesting. It was a more gained experience. Alright, and goodbye.